Welcome back to the color sanding and buffing series. This is going to be an exciting video because you know that once you're at this stage, you're getting to the end. You know, your project is starting to look the way you want. Now, we're using a 2000 grit paper here on the Holy block to take out a little run sag that I had right on the seam there. So as I dry this off here, you're going to kind of see it cut and you're going to see it lay flat. So it's pretty much drying flat there, right? There might be a little bit left on the corner there, but I might have just said screw it and buffed it right over it. Because even if you have a little run and you buff it, it disappears, okay? So again, this whole process, the whole body work, this is all art. This is literally art. You can make it as perfecto as you want, or you can cut corners if you want. You know, it's how you want the job to look at the end of the day, right? We're going to get into hardcore buffing in just a bit. Couple of tips on blocking here. We're using 2000 grits that you can buff over 1500, 2000, 25, 3000. And I talk about this further in the videos, so maybe I shouldn't explain that in depth right now. And I'll be talking to you more about that little nab there that I'm feeling with my fingers. Here we are, cloudy day, at least it's about 70 degrees today, 70, 72. And I'm just finishing up sanding it with 2000 grit because we are going to be buffing it out. Now, I already sanded the whole thing down with 1500 grit on DA, like I said. Now we're just washing it down with 2000. You can see here, if I get close, that we sanded out the run completely on this panel here. Maybe if I focus in on the key, you'll be able to see it. Right up in here, we had some runs. I took my time with the block and sanded it all out. Okay, so now there's no runs anymore. Now, it's important, key important, if you want to do a good job, take your time. Don't rush it like I did on the other. I was doing a demo on YouTube on the Miata one day and I burned through. But it's okay because I wanted to paint that a black top anyway. So take your time, you know, don't feel like 2000 is going to take so long to cut. It really doesn't. You know, 10-15 minutes of sanding slowly, because you have to check it every once in a while, right? You get to sand for 20-30 strokes, dry it, and then see how it looks. Right in here, it looks like I could kind of sand this out a little bit. Looks like I could sand that out a little bit, just get closer a little bit. But once you buff it, things like that are not going to show. This is basically a little high spot of clear coat, like a little run kind of, right? But something like this is so small, I'm not going to go crazy on this project, right? But it's going to look fantastic. You're not going to even notice something like that, right? Especially if you're not the one who painted it, you're not going to notice it. Now, moving on. The bed I am not touching because the overall paint job came out really good. It's just a little dirty right now. All right, here we had a little run on this little lip here. So we sanded that corner down. Back by the license plate, we had a little run down in here. So that's all sanded out smooth. Okay, so that has to be buffed. The back of the tailgate we're not messing with because the overall paint job came out good, like I said. Bed's good, and this door is pretty much sanded. So all I'm gonna do now is wash it, just rewash it with 2000 grit in this area and dry it off and pull it in the shop, and we're ready for buffing. Okay, so that's what we'll do. All right, we are getting into the buffing process. So this is a two-step system that we're gonna use. Most common when it comes to buffing for pro gloss finishes. Now, there are two types of buffers that you can use. The rotary, what I'm using now, the high speed rotary, and then you could also use the orbital DA style, which I'm going to show you in a little while. If you're a complete newbie, I do recommend having both versions. In fact, you may only want to start with the DA style, but it's going to take you a lot longer to buff with the DA style, just because it doesn't have the cutting power, the speed, the rotary of the high speed here. So, you know, if you're doing small pieces, it's fine, but if you're doing large, complete cars or multiple fenders, then you just may want to start off, even as a newbie, using a rotary like this. Don't be afraid of it, right? It's just the way you hold it. And don't do what I'm doing here. You see that I have the plastic pieces on. You could easily burn the adjacent plastic piece here. I could easily burn that lens if I didn't know what I was doing. But I'm making sure that I'm not burning it, because you see how I was looking at the pad there. It's a very time-consuming process. This front panel, if I ran this full length, could easily take about 15 minutes, 12 to 15 minutes per panel, because you're doing it multiple times. So this is a first coat of compound that I put on, right? And I'm just buffing it slowly here until the gloss starts coming out. Then I'm going to put another coat of compound on it to get it even glossier. So with the wool pad, the yellow wool pads are the softest wool pads. And this is the wool pads that you want to use for your initial cutting. You're going to be using a good cutting compound, right? Nothing too coarse where it feels like, you know, grits or, you know, sandpaper in your compound when you rub it together, you know, when you have the liquid together in your hands. But a good grade compound. 3M has a bunch of compound. Meguiar's has compound. Here, I just picked this stuff up at the local body shop supply here near me, English Color. They had a bunch of Automagic products, so I've been using Automagic for a long time. It's a good product, and it does the job. So you can see this is real-time buffing length here. Real time. You can see how it's slowly starting to get a gloss, right? And then you just go section by section, usually like a 1 foot by 1 foot square section. Take your time and buff it. And some people say, oh, it's not getting glossy. The reason why it's not getting glossy is because you're not buffing it enough. All right, you're not sitting there long enough. You're not putting enough compound on it. You're not buffing it. So here I am just checking it quickly. Right? And I have my Bose noise canceling headset on because it helps with the noise. Plus I'm listening to some music probably. So it looks like I walked away for something. But here's the second coat of compound. Right? Second coat, I'm taking my time. I'm going through it and just making sure I get a gloss. And if I were you, total newbie, or you just don't want to burn something, be sure to have like those lens caps off. You know, I could have actually taken them off, but they were already snapped back on. I didn't want to go through the possibility of breaking clips and stuff, because when I initially took them off, I didn't break any clips. I was lucky. Sometimes you're going to break clips taking pieces off the car, especially if they're snap-on style. And I just didn't want to go pulling them off and risking breaking the clips, so I just buffed around them. The lenses themselves, the caps themselves, those silver lens, you know, the caps around the lights is what I'm talking about. I didn't buff those. All right, those are just fine. So this is it. So this is the first step. You want to get it glossy. If it doesn't look glossy after you do this step, you did something wrong. You basically didn't buff enough, right? And you could buff over 2,000 grit is the recommended. If you want to go extra, you can go 25. But I mean, you know, it is what it is. You don't have to go to 25. 2,000 grit is more than enough. I'm buffing the lights out here too. Look how beautiful the lenses buff out so quickly. And this is why I like to have the lenses in when I do this, because I could just buff the lenses at the same spot. See, I'm hitting the corners of the lenses here. Just giving it a quick buff. It makes it turn like new. You know, I didn't sand the lenses or anything. If the lenses are in real bad condition, you can give them a quick scuff and wash with 2,000 grit. But if they look pretty clean to begin with, then you could just hit them with the compound and just buff them out. You could see how glossy they look. You know, they look freaking great. All right, this is the DA orbital style. You notice that I put the glaze on my panel, and I'm just kind of rubbing it on here with our machine, right? I'm setting it to the highest max setting, which is number 4. I'm not sure what speed it is. I'll let you know if I check the machine, but it really doesn't say anything on the machine. This is the Torx HQ buffer. They have a bunch of different kinds, many different kinds. I just picked this one up just to test it out. It works okay. And I'm using the glaze with the fine foam pad here. And this is when things start to really gloss up. And I recommend this if you're a total newbie. It's easy to use because you don't have to worry about burning. You're not going to be burning your clear coat or making a big mistake with this thing. It's turning, it's orbital turning, but it's also vibrating at the same time. All right. And you could actually stop the orbital because it's mostly a vibrate DA style. All right, it's a dual action, basically. All right, so after another 5-6 minutes of that, all you got to do is get a nice microfiber cloth and wipe off the glaze, and it's pretty much done. You're ready for a light coat of wax. I like to use Wizard spray-on wax. I love spray wax. I don't like the old school compound style, although they're good. I like the spray-on wax. Easy to put on, easy to wipe off, and you can just see the gloss here. It's literally like a mirror at this point, and pretty much done. It's done. You got the two-stage buffing done. You got no swirl marks. It looks fantastic. And the only thing you got to do at this point, like I said, is lay a fresh coat of wax on it, and you're complete. You're complete for the pro finish paint job, and it looks good. You can see it. We'll have more footage of this thing in the sun, so you can kind of really see the teal pop. But that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed. I'll probably add in some more buffing, but this is pretty much the entire step, right? You learn the whole secrets to the game in buffing in this little clip here. All the information, the speeds, the compounds, you know, the pads to use, the styles of DAs. I'm going to probably go over and show you really quickly what this looks like here with the camera. Give you a nice close-up of the gloss using the good camera, and boom, and you can see how nice that came out. Very nice. Alright, I'm not sure if I did decide. I probably did decide if I'm showing it to you like this. Alright, yep. Look at that. You know, it's literally like a mirror. You can see my other cars in there. So I found the picture. It's the V38 optical grade final polish by Chemical Brothers. That's exactly what I'm using here on the fine foam pad to get the finish on this project. Again, you don't have to use that. 3M also makes a good product called Swirl Mark Remover Perfected 3000. Okay, and they have dark and light for colors of paints. So use the dark one for any dark shade paints like dark grays, silvers, dark reds, black, and then you use the cream polish for lighter colors like this whole complete project here. I would use the white cream. I mean, you could use the white cream on black as well, but I mean they have different colors, so take it what it is. I've used the white cream on the black with no difference at all, so just saying. And yes, I'm also hitting the lenses with our scratch mark remover, our foam pad here, just to give it that extra shine, and it does work. So like you go over it with the wool pad, you want to go over it with the foam pad to give it that final luster gloss. But this is the actual footage of just the final wiping it off, and then you could just literally put some wax on top of this. See, anytime you see me using the white cloth means I did the second stage. You could see the orbital style Torx buffer that I have there, right? I did the foam pad stage, and the foam pad stage is actually half the time to buff it out, because you're not buffing for a gloss. You're just basically getting rid of the fine swirl marks of what the wool pad left over. So it's the final step. So it's literally half the time. If it took you 10 minutes to do a panel with the wool pad, it'll take you 4 minutes, 3-4 minutes to finish off with the foam pad. You don't need to put as much time in because you're not cutting, you're just glossing up, you know what I mean? So the foam always goes quicker. If it takes you a day to do the whole car or 2 days to do the whole car, it'll take you, you know, literally a quarter of a day to finish up with the foam pad. So that's a good thing to know. So once again, my friends, please like the video, share, comment below, let me know what you thought. And if you want to learn more step-by-step auto body where you could bang out professional paint jobs without a $50,000 spray booth, and you want to do your own jobs for friends and family, save thousands of dollars, check out learnautobodyandpaint.com. In the description, the link below or on the top right here of the video. And check out the VIP program. We have thousands of members, and I think you'll love it. Bye.